Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Radio Work. And this morning I'm here with the wonderful Marina. Good morning, Marina.
Good morning. I'm so happy being here with you. I'm having my coffee, I'm having my thoughts, and life is amazing. It's amazing. And I couldn't say the same couple of years ago when I retired. And I felt very lonely. I felt that nobody needs me anymore. So it's a very different world for me right now. And I'm truly humbled to see that there is more to life than just setting up goals that you achieve, you delivered, and then nothing.
Yeah,
You go back to nothing. I realize that there is a world of you, and I wonder how many people make themselves their own goal to be delivered.
yeah. I think it's really easy to slip into creating goals that are about doing stuff, isn't it? Instead of about being something. You talk about a to-be list instead of a to-do list, don't you?
Yes, I had to trade it. I had to trade the to-do list because I had nothing else to do anymore. I retired, kids left home, and it was not only the empty nest syndrome. It was more than that. I felt I don't have a reason to live anymore.
It's very hard to imagine you ever feeling that you couldn't have a reason to live anymore because you give so much to everybody and you are so vibrant and so full of life. So to imagine that somebody like you could feel like that is hard, I think, for most people. And it actually, if you can feel like that, who can't feel like that? Actually, I think it's very difficult to for us to kind of think about. I think we'd rather not think about people being lonely and having feelings of hopelessness. Um, so I think it's one of those things we avoid thinking about. But actually, I imagine that there are very, very many lonely people out there in the world, even people that are surrounded by others. It's quite easy to feel lonely, even in a crowd. I suspect for for most people at some time, and it's very difficult for me to listen to you, knowing that you felt like that, um, and that other people feel like that.
So I know we are so busy. Modern life is just taking over. Is almost like you don't think for yourself anymore. You don't live for yourself anymore. It's always something else to do, or you are never doing enough. Whatever you are doing is never enough. So I found that taking time to think about yourself as an actual goal to deliver yourself into your own life is a very tricky or tall order, if I could say that. It's almost like you could do anything. Somebody gives you a goal and you go for it and you deliver it. And it's almost like, doesn't matter how hard it is, you'll make it happen. But when it comes to yourself, to finding that place in your mind where you are at home, it's almost like mission impossible. How hard is for you, Kim?
Um, I think most of the goals I set, I make sure are goals that um, I personally want to achieve because I'm very fortunate to work for myself, so I don't have to do stuff for a business or something, and 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 my to-do list might have stuff to do for the family, like cooking dinner or buying shopping, but those things are never on my goals list. But um, I think that's because of the method I use for setting my goals. They're always they're monthly goals, And I think if we think about things in terms of months or years, or have our own kind of view of where we would like to be in mind when we set the goals, it's easier to set them for yourself. But even if you set goals for yourself, like, you know, running at a particular event, or you know, reading a particular book, or learning something new, or losing weight, whatever your goal is, it might be for yourself, but that doesn't necessarily give you insight into yourself and prepare you for a future where where you haven't got a to-do list anymore.
Hmm.
And I think I don't know if I've ever thought about preparing myself for that time. I guess I know that that time will come, and you know, it's getting closer, obviously, than it was 10 years ago, because even my youngest daughter will be leaving school in a couple of years. My middle daughter's going to go to university. My oldest son, you know, got a girlfriend in Wales now, so he might end up living in Wales. And so I know there's a time coming when my children won't need me anymore. And so that I should prepare for that, but I've never really thought about preparing for that. It's always been about doing stuff.
I came across with this amazing book about loneliness, and I found it very empowering. Not in a sense that you pick up elements from the book and you make your goal to your life. Not in that sense. I found it very empowering because speaks the truth. Deals with a real problem of modern life that modern society is filled with, is almost like contaminated with, and yet people are not even thinking about, let alone dealing with. So my grandmother saying that if the big problem when it's small. so you see, I wasn't even aware that it will come a time very early, actually, in my life, because I was 51 years old, when nobody will need me.
Yeah.
Take on a journey to go of the mind, actually, to discover what else is there. Must be something else. People will keep, I heard people many times saying, must be more to life. But yet all we do, we grow our children, we grow our business, we grow whatever it is that we grow, which is another goal. And then you are left with nothing, literally nothing. Doesn't matter how much money you have, doesn't matter how many assets you hold, doesn't matter how financially secure you are or you are not. It's always more to life that you never thought about, because you've been so busy focusing and keeping yourself busy into that world of getting the next goal and delivering the next goal, because you don't know another way. So I'm wondering, I know in your book you in effect you have a lot of tools that
Yeah.
those tools are designed, they are your own tools, which you are using in your real life, and they are designed to help others to find a way of living their life forward, living forward and paying back at the same time. It's almost like living in tandem. And each chapter of your book is a place where you could really go through things that really matters, really matter, like how to connect with people, and how to connect with yourself, and how to discover your unique talent, and how to monetize it. So I found it very, very exciting, because it's almost like a rainbow of possibilities. And I know you are planning to develop this not only in this country, but expand into different cultures. So what is what is that you see that people could do when living it forward? What is possible?
Well, I don't think it matters where you are now. Wherever you are now, there's always somewhere to go. And it's not necessarily always forward. Sometimes people need to take a step sideways. So I was talking to a friend.
So by that you are saying stop chasing opportunities. You become the opportunity, is what you mean?
Yeah, I think maybe just sometimes the way forward is not working particularly well for you. So I was talking to a very close friend of mine the other day, and she'd been working in psychology for quite a few years now, and had applied to go onto a doctorate several years running and not get on. It's a very difficult degree to get onto, the doctorate. It's one of the most highly competitive degrees to get onto, even more than becoming a doctor. And a medical doctor, because she will be a doctor, but she won't be a medical doctor. So clinical psychology doctorate is harder to get onto than the medical doctorate. And she'd applied and couldn't get onto it. And so last year she applied and went on and did her master's. And it cost her money, and she didn't necessarily need it to go on to the doctorate. But this time round, when she applied for the doctorate, she got onto it. And so she was saying that people might have seen that as a sideways step for her. And she doesn't know whether it helped her get onto the doctorate itself. But actually what it did do was prepare her really well for being on the doctorate, because it got her back into the mode of studying and being used to preparing essays and getting them out on time. And it got her used to being a student again, and used to being in that kind of mindset. And so she said, it actually really helped her, because otherwise when she went to start the doctorate, and she was used to being at work for years and years, that she would have been in a slightly different mindset, and it would have taken her a bit longer to get into the process of being in that studying environment again. So taking a slight sideways step before stepping forwards again actually cleared the pathway quite well for her. And I think sometimes that we can see something that's a slight sideways step, and we think, well, is that really where I want to go? And actually, in the long run, it could be a really good move, because it could mean that instead of being on the stream with the rapids in, that we end up on the lovely open river where it's very fast flowing. So, yeah, taking a step sideways can be, I think. Really.
So what I got from your book is that people are connecting with other people, but if they connect with other people when they are not connected to themselves, that creates almost a disconnect from the world, because not being connecting with yourself to yourself doesn't really allow you to connect with others. It's almost like if you don't love yourself, you can't love anyone, and that's the truth. But from the other hand, I I hear this a lot. Modern life is almost as compact and solid as a piece of brick, but from the other hand is as liquid as any liquid. And that makes society as a whole almost like a conspiracy. So it's almost like you make friends, you make connections, and yet you feel lonely. You go on these social media platforms, which I educated myself to stay away after certain hours. So I dedicate myself to myself a lot more than I used before, because it's very easy to be sucked into this social media and lose track of time. And in no time, you realize that you've been there for so long,
Yeah.
and you achieve nothing. So when we are so well connected from a technical point of view, and we feel so lonely, so disconnected, what do you think is the answer? What is that you do to feel, to leave the disconnect behind, to feel that you could be without the need, without the addiction to others or social media or any other kind of social addictions? What is that you do?
Well, on a personal level, if, so for instance, yesterday, I could have taken the bus back from where I was working at the clinic I've been working at, into the local town, and then caught the bus to where I live. But if I catch the bus from my local clinic, from the clinic where I'm working, into the town, I miss the bus back to where I live by about 2 minutes. And so I have to wait half an hour for that bus. And yesterday was a very, very beautiful sunny day. And at the moment, all the spring flowers are out, and you can see the wood anemones under the trees, and the bluebells are just beginning to kind of bud, and they're going to be out soon. And I just looked and thought, this is going to be a really beautiful day for a walk. So I got off of the bus that would take me into town a few stops early, probably about halfway back, and there's a road I can walk down which leads me to a footpath. It's quite a long walk actually, it's about 5 miles. So this was not a little baby walk. It took me an hour and a half. I haven't checked how far it is, but it's a decent walk. But I decided to make that walk instead of going on the buses. And when I'm sitting on the bus, I sit and I'll look through Facebook and things like that. And obviously, when I'm walking, I'm not going to do that, because when I'm walking, if I'm looking at my phone, I'm not going to be able to walk in a straight line, and I might get hit by a car if I'm still on the road, or if I'm on the footpath, I might step somewhere that's not very convenient to step and sprain my ankle on a route or something. So you have to be aware when you're walking where you're going. But also it gives you a chance to look around at everything there is. But mostly what it does is allow you to go inside your own head and think about everything that's going on in there. And when you're in a nice place, in a nice environment, I think that it's easy to go in there and think about good things. And although I'm completely alone when I do those sort of walks, I often walk alone. I never feel lonely, because I guess I love being in that kind of an environment, a beautiful environment, and feeling that I can just disappear off into my own thoughts. Yeah.
So connecting with nature, going for a walk, the simple, very easy to implement tools in your daily life. And I in America, nobody walks, and if you walk, people stop the car, stop driving, asking you if you need a lift or if it's something wrong with you. So, so different cultures are different. You know, different people living in different countries. It's always something very unique to England. Everybody loves walking, and perhaps because society is so advanced that you really need that place to contemplate your own thoughts and to connect with yourself, connect with nature. But more than this, I think what I understand from people living in other countries while I was traveling on my book tour is they always know is more to life. It's almost like doesn't mean anything anymore when they're saying it's more to life, must be more to life, because it's almost like a brick wall. They're facing a brick wall, not knowing what is that is more to life. Okay, so I'm having my family, I'm having my degrees, I'm having um, my assets, my goals achieved, and why I feel empty. What is that makes me feel that I'm not being enough? And I found amazing your idea of getting people together and having the Forever Young Summit this summer, where people just come along and they have a good time. They connect with each other. They connect with nature. It's in a park, so it's an open. It's under the sky, so there is no roof. So it's going to be a massive celebration of the human love and human spirit and everything that is left in us that is screaming life. And life is not necessarily being imprisoning yourself into a block tower or an office or somewhere where you have to work till you drop. Life is about smiling. Life is about walking. Life is about talking about nothing with others. Why it needs to be so serious? Why everything have to be so important? Why we can't just be? I don't understand why people feel the need to impress others all the time. Why they feel the need to be impressed by others all the time. Why they feel the need to be entertained by others and entertained others. You know, last year I've been to a funeral to one of my friends, and there were hundreds of people. It is a very rich family, so hundreds of people turn up, and the wife was sitting by herself, and everybody else was having a very good time, and she was sitting there by herself. And I go and ask my friend, I said, "So wow, so many people turn up. What you know?" I didn't expect so many people. It was almost like a festival. And she wasn't really fooled by the numbers. You know, she said, yes, hundreds of people, but very, very few human beings. So that human aspect to each one of us, which is almost buried alive, which is almost like not good enough to succeed in society, in modern society, not strong enough to create bonds, life bonds with others. And I'm thinking, you know what? I think I I don't care what other people think of me. I don't care of what other people think of somebody else. I don't Google anyone. People are coming to me saying, "So what? You don't know who I am?" I said, "No, I don't have a clue." "So you didn't Google me before the show?" I said, "No, I don't Google people. I see people and I feel people." And coming back to those basic kind of connections with people, it's helping me a lot. It's helping me to be with somebody and just listen to them, to their nonsense, if you want. You know, I love listening to things that are real life, to people who are real. I don't like to know what somebody else said about you, or I don't want to know what somebody else said about me. I really don't care. All I care is what I think of myself, because this is how connected I am with myself. And I really feel the need to connect with people who are connected to themselves first, because otherwise it will be no connection. Otherwise, it's just a waste of time. And time is my precious asset, and I don't want to waste it away. I wanted to give it to and invest it into the right people who are connected with themselves, to themselves, because unless they love themselves, they can't love anyone else. There is a lot I can, a lot of examples of that nature where I invested a lot in people or in projects or whatever it was at the time. And then all I felt at the end was just like the, the whole energy of my mental energy, physically, at every single level, I felt sucked of that energy. It's like they are people who are just sucking you dry, you know, and then is nothing. Then is nothing. So you work so hard on something, you invest so much, and then is nothing because it meant nothing to them. So I decided to spend a lot of time on my own, to spend a lot of time with the people I love and people who love themselves, simply because that enriches my own life. And going to simple things like walking, like connecting with nature, like watching the birds 5 o'clock in the morning, or staring at the sun for as long as it is on the sky. There are really things that make me feel rich. So
Yeah.
I know we are getting together very soon at the end of this month,
Yeah.
in 3 weeks' time, actually. And we invite along people who want to make the news and bring along the good news themselves. For me, each person is the good news. If you switch on the TV, is always about something that that blocks you off. You know, it's something that makes you think, oh my God, this is too much, you know, it's not worth living, it's not. But you know, life is amazing. So I know perhaps everybody knows what's happening, and what's the point in focusing on something I can't do anything about? I could go for a walk, I could look at the little insects, which they have a life of their own and they're very grateful for. I could open a book like this amazing book I discovered, Loneliness, by this amazing author, which I hope is going to join us on air and share his passion for human love. And life is amazing. How much do I need to be happy? You know, I'm happy with no reason. So they're all elements of power and silent power that each one of us holds. And coming along to our gala evening in London, you could discover that you have the same powers, and they are silent, and they could be switched on. And when you switch on those silent powers you hold within yourself, the light goes on, and who knows what you could see. You could even see yourself leading a different kind of life, the life that you could call amazing. From both of us, until next time, is goodbye. Remember,
Goodbye.
stay forever young. Goodbye.
Goodbye.